I'm dealing with real life. It's
Yeah.
not just about how much money you get out of a deal or a piece of property or a patent. It's life. It's your children. It's your family. It's your home.
Welcome back to Beyond the Bar podcast. I'm your host, Denise Satova. And today I'm super excited to have a friend and a very distinguished family law attorney, Joshua Katz. He's the owner of Law Office of Joshua Katz. And he is, oh my gosh, he's been in the industry for a very long time, handled thousands of divorces, child custody trials. Actually, he's coming off of one today, including high profile and celeb cases. He's also super active. I don't know how he does it. He's a vice president of the Queens County Bar Association and a co-chair of the Family Court Committee. But beyond all these impressive titles, just as this podcast is about, Josh is a husband, father of two grown boys, and definitely man with a story. So, Josh, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much, Denise. Thank you for those kind words. And it is truly an honor to be invited to participate in this podcast.
Pleasure all mine. So, let's start with your story. How did you become an attorney?
Sheesh. Um,
Why?
well, For starters, I don't know why. I was definitely, clearly on the path to becoming a professional clarinetist. And that's why I went to college, I went to music school, and somehow made a left turn and decided to actually make a living and followed in my father's footsteps as a family law attorney. And here
Just
I
like
am,
that.
just like that. Third generation attorney. Both my father and grandfather were lawyers. And I worked for my father out of law school just for 2 years. And he did a lot of divorce work. And I kind of just fell into it.
So you witnessed them growing up, essentially being a lawyer. Was there at any point as a young Josh thinking this is really cool? I think I can do this, or not at
No,
all? No.
no, I was going to be a musician, a professional clarinetist. That was the plan. As a young child, I was going to be a doctor. But but really that was my plan, and I didn't go to college. Originally, when I left high school, I went to conservatory to study clarinet performance. So no, I was not going to be a lawyer.
Yeah, that's a very different journey. How did you get into the music? What was that, during your childhood? Who or what inspired you to do that? Or were you told to take lessons?
No, no, that was my mother. My mother was a music teacher her whole life and a pianist, and I studied music from the time I was, I think, about 6 years old, and
Wow.
just fell in love with the clarinet, and really that was my goal.
You started studying at 6 years old and you fell in love with it. That's really incredible. I think my mom actually had signed us up for lessons. It was a classical guitar, acoustic guitar, and then also we should call it recorder in English
Yeah.
because that was in the old Eastern European country. And I remember I was like 9 and I really didn't enjoy it until later on in life. So I mean, at 6 years old, you really embraced it. That's pretty impressive.
I started on the recorder at 6 and graduated to a clarinet, and I went to a music camp and met my teacher there, Jerome Sala, may he rest in peace, who was one of the finest clarinet professors in New York. And I studied privately with him from the time I was 8 until I left for college.
What
Yeah.
about today? Are you still are you nurturing that passion?
I am, not so much in the last couple of years. I know I left New York during the pandemic and I moved my family to Florida. And down in Florida, I was very active uh, and played with a professional band down there. Before that, I played with the Broward Symphony Orchestra. I played with the East Stroudsburg Concert Band. I taught clarinet. I played a lot of chamber music. So throughout my career as a lawyer, I still kept up my clarinet and still played. Uh, so yeah, I still do.
Who are you? I mean, all these months, years, I mean, we've worked together in some cases and just sort of a network. I did not know that. Well, that's the beauty of this podcast, really, just to go beyond the legal title. Okay, so now let's talk about you becoming a lawyer. Now, did you start as a family attorney, or was there a turn?
Well, I started, as I said, my first 2 years I practiced with my father, and he had more of a general practice. I did a lot of real estate, some banking work, representing lenders, but I did some family law work. And when I left my father, I started my own practice 2 years out of law school. And the clients that I got were more on the family law side. And I kind of discovered I guess I had a knack for it. And I'm very strange. Most lawyers that do family law and especially divorce, they really don't like the practice. It's not a way to get rich, that's for sure. It's very emotional. Um, I love it. I really do. I spent about 10 years as a member of the 18B panel in the family court. So I was representing children whose parents were going through divorces or custody battles or abuse and neglect type cases, domestic violence, all kinds of happy stuff. And I found I really enjoyed representing the children, and I found I could actually make a difference in people's lives. But now I am focused more on divorce, and specifically, I like to say I specialize, even though you're not supposed to do that as an attorney, in custody litigation, contested custody litigation.
That's a tough work.
Indeed, it's very emotional.
Yeah.
My wife gives me 5 minutes when I get home that I can complain about the judges, about my clients, about my adversaries. 5 minutes, I'm cut off. That's it. Not allowed to talk about work anymore.
So when she cut you off and you actually spend time outside of work and not discussing cases and you're not practicing clarinet, what do you do? What do you enjoy doing?
Golf,
Mm.
tennis, basketball. Um, my kids are finally, one of my sons is starting to get the golf bug finally, and he'll play golf with me on the weekends. My other son is more into basketball. And unfortunately, I don't know, fortunately, he's a lot taller than I am. And it's getting to the point where it's not so easy to beat them anymore. Uh, so a lot of sports, a lot of sporting events I like to go to. Uh, Love to go to the Knicks games. Let's go Knicks. It's going to be a great season.
Yeah,
Uh,
it appears that way.
Very exciting season.
What I'm curious, what is one of your pet peeves?
Oh boy. Um, Stupid people.
So,
I'd
okay.
be more specific though.
Yes.
What really drives me crazy is attorneys that take things personally.
Mm.
So the divorce bar is very collegial for the most part. And it's a kind of a smaller group of lawyers tend to see the same adversaries over and over on different cases. And there are some that turn it very personal instead of realizing that it's the clients that position we should represent. That's my pet peeve.
Yeah, that's a big one, and that's significant. I think you can really apply it in any, just really in any situation in life, taking stuff personally, because we both come to the table with different set of experiences and preferences, and to think that, things will hit our stuff in the same way, it's impossible. So there's different perspectives, but yeah, I can see that. It's sort of taking on the emotional stuff. I mean, it's already
Yeah.
difficult as it is, and that it really shows.
The clients, of course, are very emotional. We're representing them through a difficult time, the worst time in their life, really.
Yeah.
And the attorney should remain professional and not allow the emotion to get in the way. And for the most part, most do. That's definitely a pet peeve.
How do you deal with somebody who is overly emotional? And I mean client, not an attorney.
Oh, with a client? Well, they call us attorneys and counselors at law. So I do believe that we are counseling them in life as much as in the law. Uh,
Mm.
you know, on a day-to-day basis, the issues I deal with and the pettiness of, can I keep the kid until 5:30 instead of 5 o'clock? Can we split Thanksgiving at a different time? Can I have them for Christmas Eve this year? Um, it's life. It's not the law.
Mm.
I do have to counsel them through that, and they do get quite emotional, and that's a big part of my job.
Yeah, I can tell that you take more of a practical approach, to because to guide them rationally to some sort of outcome. Um,
I certainly try.
Looking back at your life journey, because it's life, it's ups and downs. What would you consider your biggest, or one of the biggest setbacks, and then being able to you know come, just deal with it and sort of grow through it?
Huh. So, as we discussed, my plan was to be a professional clarinetist. I was going to be the soloist with the New York Philharmonic. Uh, when I got to music school and realized I'm no longer the best in high school, this is real. I'm just average. There's people out there that are so good, and that's true with everything. But as a musician, to realize that I'm no more than average and I'm not going to be soloing with the New York Philharmonic, that's a setback. And then, fortunately, I had a fallback, which was the law, and got accepted into college and, majored in English literature, and then went on to law school and was able to do that still in 4 years after 2 years of studying at a conservatory and 2 years of college. Uh, but that was quite a setback for me to make that decision. I'm not good enough.
And here you are,
And here I am,
still
somewhat good
feeling
enough to practice law and to make a living.
well, and still nurturing and fueling your passion. I mean, you didn't throw it away, and you pivot. I mean, that's pretty incredible. Have your boys played any instrument? Are they into it as well?
Not at all. I could never get my boys interested in music. Um, it took a long time for me to get them interested in the sports that I played, but never music. No,
Hmm. How would your wife describe you?
pain in the ass.
At all times?
Eh, I hope not at all times. Um, Very passionate, about the things I believe in, and I do. Um, if it's golf, I, I I get out there. I work on my game. If it's clarinet, she's heard me practice, go over the same riffs over and over again till the fingers get it down right. She's seen me prep for trials, and the things I work on, I'm passionate about. But she'd also tell you I'm a slob and I'm disorganized and I can't remember to put the toilet seat down or to close the cabinets.
This is great. You're so open, so human. So this is great. Just authentic. I love that. What advice would you give to incoming lawyers?
To find their passion.
Mm.
I actually, in my spare time, I serve on the character and fitness committee.
Mm.
And as part of the admissions process, candidates for the bar have to go through an in-person interview. And I do those interviews, and I give worldly advice to these young, hopeful lawyers. And that's what I tell them all the time, to find their passion. Mine is family law. So it's not the way to make a lot of money, okay? But if you're happy at a big firm with a cubicle, if you're happy, working corporate law where you're stuck in a dark room, you're going to make a lot more money. But you got to be happy with what you do. Um, I am in court almost every day. Every single day of my life is very different from the others. I think you mentioned I was on trial today, all day on a custody trial. Um, that's what I live for, and it keeps me going on a daily basis. So I can't imagine doing something every day, 8 to 10 hours a day, and not enjoying what you do.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. I wonder if for many people, I think it's tough to find that it in the beginning and the passion. I think that you find something that you are reasonably good at, and as you get more into it, you begin to master it. It fuels you, and because your passion was you played clarinet, you had to pivot, you got into the legal field, and you navigated your way through it. Who knows if you were immediately passionate about it, but probably as you started seeing and witnessing the difference you made, the impact that you made on children and families, it fueled you and filled you with passion to be needed. And um,
I always felt that. I'm dealing with real life. It's
yeah,
not just about how much money you get out of a deal, or a piece of property or a patent. It's life. It's your children. It's your family. It's your home. It's so it does fuel me absolutely.
do you watch any
And that's
shows?
say again.
Do you watch any shows?
So I have been binge watching Harry Potter with my wife.
Fun.
Um, and we binged watched Suits before that.
Yep, that's
Great
a good
show.
one.
Great show.
Yes, yes. Third time on it too, and you can stop and then come back to it, and yeah, it's fun,
And they're
definitely.
coming out with a new series or something that taking over from where Suits left off. I
Really?
think I don't
Oh,
know what it's called. It's supposed to come out this fall, I think.
oh, I have to look into it. Yeah, that's a really good show. It's addicting.
Yeah.
Wow, well, this has been a really enlightening. Now, on a final note, I'm dying to know. So what's the story with that purple tie?
So I think it's actually pink. Um, but here's the story. I'm sure, are familiar with Temu, online shopping. I had never heard of Temu before very recently, and spent way too much money on ties from designer labels. And my wife one day said, "Take a look at Temu." And I found 12 ties, I'm sorry, 6 ties for $12. And they're non-brand names. And I have to tell you, those 6 ties, every time I wear them, I get complimented, as you did when we first logged on today. I
I
never got
did.
a compliment on a designer tie.
Love it. Love it.
So this is my $2 tie.
It's striking. It's very impressive. It's a
Thank you.
conversation piece. Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
that's
much.
yeah. You're right. People obsessed with labels and it's that's ironic. That's great. Well, Josh, this has really been a pleasure. I'm still kind of savoring your story about the clarinet and that passion. So next time I see you at a networking event, it has to be continued. Where could do you are there any videos of you playing anywhere floating somewhere online?
There probably are somewhere. There are certainly recordings. One of these days, you'll see me at a bar association event. I've performed at a couple of different events. I performed at the Family Court in Queens one time, and I performed at a Holocaust Day event for Brandeis. Um, I'm sure you'll catch me somewhere, and I
Oh,
look
I can't
forward to it.
wait. Yeah, looking forward to it. Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing your
Denise,
story
this
and
was a lot of fun. Thank you again for inviting me.
absolutely. And to our listeners and viewers, if you'd like to learn more about Joshua Katz, how to get hold of him, make sure that you check out his bio link below. And don't forget to subscribe to Beyond the Bar podcast channel. Follow us on all social media channels. Until next time, stay curious and stay inspired.